voice. Hey, you look great.
I wasn't sure where the camera was going to be. As I've told you, Skype and I are working on our relationship.
Yes, sometimes Skype and I have a love-hate. I love to hate them, but I've been trying out some other things. I tested Google On Air, which may work, but it's as we would be recording, it would be going live to YouTube. And I'm just not comfortable with that yet. I don't edit, but...
Yeah.
Oh, so everybody, oops, I'm Arwen of Tarot by Arwen, and this is my wonderful guest, Mellissae Lucia. I say Lucia or Lucia.
No, Lucia, you got it, babe.
Okay,
Right
good.
on.
Well, I have to tell you that as I was preparing for our chat today, I went out to just grab my mail, and I found feather.
Oh.
And I thought that is because she is coming on my channel.
Oh man. So what's your thought on that? What do you think the symbolism is there?
Well, for me, I don't like the doves in my yard because we have the Eurasian doves, and they're a big old pain in my butt because they eat everything, and I've seen them land on sparrows to knock them off. Right? Our peaceful, beautiful symbol of hope is a big old backyard bully.
Wow.
So, but I love feathers.
Yes.
So, and a cat left me a gift of semi-attached feathers in the front yard that I'm going to have to go deal with later. Not the dove. It was a poor little song sparrow. So, but kitties got to eat.
They do. They're hunters. You know, we try to get it out of them, but the reality is that's their instinct.
Yeah. And it's life, you know. And I tell people that's how I practice my path. You know, balance, light and dark, we got it all.
Exactly. Hello.
But, folks, I want you to know that Mellissae is, in my viewpoint, a shaman, a priestess, a teacher. She is an amazing photographer. And she has done a wonderful, beautiful deck called the Oracle of Initiation, which I have. And if I was a great reviewer, I would have found it on my bookshelf. However, it's somewhere back there. But I mean, I just had it. I just used it the other week for a taroscope. Yeah, so I'm like, what the heck did I do with it?
Yeah, you got this card on your taroscope.
Luminescence.
Yeah, you did, babe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful deck. Folks, if y'all have not got this deck, do you still have copies available?
Oh, absolutely. There's two sizes. There's the limited edition size, and then there's the new tarot size.
Okay, and I have because I went on the Kickstarter or the Indiegogo, whichever program you did, that's the one I have.
Yeah.
So, and it's a really neat deck. Melissa did a self-portrait series. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, one of the questions I ask is, who or what is your muse? And since I've read, and I've done we'll talk a little bit about the workshop she does online. We'll talk a little bit about that because it's amazing. But tell me what made you want to go out and get naked in the dirt?
Well, Arwen, who doesn't want to go get naked in the dirt? I'm thinking for some of the people watching here, you know, that we've got a mystical crowd. I mean, there's going to be some pagans. There's going to be some people who are very connected to the earth, to the cycles. You know, this is an unorthodox group. And so the Oracle of Initiation deck came out of this whole really resurrection process where I had grown up in the Pacific Northwest, which is very damp. I'm in Western Washington. It's like a big spore cave sponge. And then and I really wanted children. I wanted to be the stay-at-home, make the cookies mom, that whole deal. Love children. And then got married, and then in my early 30s, my husband ended up dying when he was 37 of cancer.
Oh, wow.
And that whole initiation sent me off on a 7-year vision quest, spirit quest, where I was living in Seattle at the time, and Seattle has bigger cities, I've realized, being as intuitive as I am and as much of an empath as I am, I don't do great in bigger cities. But I didn't realize, nobody had trained me at that point or said, hey, you're super sensitive and maybe you need to be somewhere where there's more dirt and less people. Yeah, right. I didn't know. I just thought I was the most nervous person on the planet. And so after he died, I fell in love with horses. I traveled throughout the West, moved to Texas, and this whole process of connecting with, I've always been an earth girl. I've always been somebody who would rather be out in the woods than in the house.
Yeah.
But this process of having to reclaim who I was and come out the other side of something that was so shattering, I found this connection back to the land and to my own sense of power and connection and knowing in that place. And so New Mexico really was the place that the critical mass happened, that it was, I had been working on the Oracle deck for about 3.5, 4 years when I got to New Mexico. And I've been in love with hip hop since I was 12 years old. So that's 1980. I'm a big hip hop girl. And the whole culture of it, the dancing, the graffiti, to me, it's tribal, it's primitive, it's indigenous, it's the drums, it's the dance, it's the shamanism that's come into the contemporary time. I mean, they're the contemporary griots, they're the bards, they're the storytellers. They're saying we have things that are off kilter and we need to address it. And so to me, hip hop, and I'm not talking about the misogynistic, completely sexist stuff. I'm talking about the folks who really have some soul to what they're bringing.
Yeah.
And so in New Mexico, with this connection to the land and this love of the desert that emerged, I found a graffiti tunnel, and it resonated because I'd been being so attuned by the desert and this whole 7-year vision quest. Mm-hmm. It resonated in me in a different way than it had in the past. And I'd always wanted to weave my love of hip hop into my work in a really integrous, non-colonialist way. And so I had this, my work comes in epiphanies where like, boom, this idea just, it's like a vision of it. And I was driving in my car in New Mexico and this vision hit and I saw myself tribally painted. And the synapses combined, and I went, oh, you're going to do that down in the graffiti tunnel. And I've done a series of work where I'd been nude on the land, which was this process. I was 39 when it started, and as a female, for me in this culture, I've grappled with a lot of issues about how we look and our value around how we look. For females, that's a really huge issue. And so I'm aging, and I thought, I need to find how I'm beautiful to myself, awesome. Where my power is to myself. And so that was when the work started with being called and the nudity. And the nudity not for sensationalism, more for this surrender, this primal, I'm going to be Inanna, and I'm going to have nothing on, and we are going to sacrifice ourselves to the earth and to the play and to the muses. And so that body of work had started. And so that was really, it was a combination of the earth and of the mystic that was emerging mm-hmm. and this graffiti connection. And that whole piece came together where I did the artwork for the deck down in these graffiti tunnels and on the land in New Mexico. And it was extraordinary.
When I first saw the deck, I thought, okay, and then I kept looking, and I didn't support it at first. I looked at it and I sent it out to other people because generally, if I see something on Indigo, I share it out because I think, nice. Okay, maybe it didn't connect for me, but let's go send it out for other people to see. Yeah. And then I came back to it, and I looked at it from a different angle. And I thought, wait a minute, there's something happening here, and if something is intriguing me so much that it's making me stop and interact with that image, I need that deck. I mean, that's how my process went. Because that's something was off-putting at first, and I really think it was the idea that you were wearing body paints, and y'all, these images they're not sexual. Let me just be real frank with you. They're not, period. They're not. But there's nudity in them in spots, and there's different images and focuses, but I think my reaction was, she's showing her body. I can't do that. I can't look at somebody who can do that. So it made me deal with my own body issues, so thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There was something, the deck has, not everybody gets the deck. And there are some people who are actually scared by the deck, that the images in it, because part of what I feel came forth was that the spirits let me take pictures between the veils. And so it's like petroglyphs coming alive off of the cave walls.
Yes.
And for some people, depending on where they're at, they're not ready to look at that level of integration of duality, look at that level of the beauty in their shadow. They're just not ready. But some people, they go berserk. I mean, literally, some people have 7 decks, and they say, this is the deck I've been waiting for my whole life. And so the deck really, I don't think ever is going to be for everybody. And that's beautiful. It's for the people it's for.
Yes, exactly. It calls its own tribe to it.
Yes.
And I love, and she, y'all, Mellissae does periscope work where she goes out and re-beautifies things. She's all over the place. You've just got to follow her. But the next thing I want to talk about is what really got me connected. And that was my iPhone. And this crazy woman who said she could show me how to see things differently with my iPhone. And I thought, okay, crazy woman, I already know I like you, so I'm going to go clickety-click on the join here. And it's ongoing, y'all. She does it, I think we're in the 3rd group.
3rd one.
Yeah.
And there's one that starts March 20th.
Awesome. And I really, if y'all like photography at all, and if you're a great photographer, if you think, I snap pictures of my kids and my dogs, whatever, right, go take this class. My friend Karen Brighton has gone bonkers her work.
Bonkers. And we love her. This is great love for Karen.
Yeah, we're rooming together at Newt's at the Northwestern Tarot Symposium. I can't wait to see her. I met her at Joanna's retreats, which I know you've done.
Yes.
So it's like a little tiny small world as we all kind of
all open together.
But this course is iPhone Adventures. No, what is the name of it?
iPhone Image Adventures.
Image Adventures, and it's really cool. It comes in your email, and you just read it, and then you go do what you want to do. And sometimes I would do exactly what it said, and sometimes I would go, oh, no, I must go do this. And I would go off. And other people had the same reaction. But the first one that I took was brilliant. She uses just one. I'm not going to tell people the app because I want y'all to go investigate it and see more about it. But it's really, really cool. And you've developed it. I've seen it grow. Mm-hmm. So now I'm seeing the layering and all of this going on. So why did you start this? I mean, did somebody just look at you and say, I can't do what you do? And you said, heck yeah. I mean, what happened?
Well, this is fun. And actually, Arwen, this was when, I think we've had some connection in the tarot divination world and stuff, but this was when I fell in love with you, was your obsessiveness. You and Kitty were the one who said, we're laying in bed at night taking pictures because we are so possessed with all this. So I love show and tell. I love things where, let's see if the people can see it. So yes. These really experimental images that, and then I'll tell you how this happened, but I just want to show you a couple of these images so that you can get a sense of what we're talking about here, because it's I guess on Skype it's not.
No, it's showing. When people see the video, they'll be able to see those better.
It'll be bigger, so they'll be able to see it.
Oh, I love that one. I love the wood and the
Oh,
tree. Just really love that.
extraordinary. So I see the world and move through the world as the world being completely enchanted. Now, I'm not a Pollyanna. I'm an empath, so I'm very sensitive. I'm a weather vane for people's energy. So, I think a lot of us empaths actually really struggle with feeling so much that we
Yes.
struggle with anxiety. We struggle with depression. I've throughout my life had all sorts of arcs with that, but there's also been this common thread where the world is magic, and I'm like a little kid. I'm in my late 40s, but you'll see me and I will squeal. I mean, I am just like, that's so cool. And so when the iPhone came along, I put off having even a cell phone for years because technology is a real mixed bag for me. It does amazing things and it drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the iPhone came along, and then I found this certain app, we'll be coy, this certain special app that's the most creative thing the most creative tool I've actually ever found, ever. I mean, other than the co-creation between the muses, an actual literal tool. And I found it, and I just fell in love and became obsessive. And it's over 4 years now that I've been using it. And I take pictures almost every day. And the level of creativity and experimentation is off the charts with it, and they keep offering new options with it.
Yes.
So it's ever evolving, and I love that because I'm a sensation junkie. And so last summer, out to my mailing list, I sent this survey saying, here's the deal, guys. There are so many different places that from different angles of the shamanism and the creativity, women's empowerment. There are so many things that I've been trained in that I can train other people in. But what do you guys want? I'm not sure what you guys want. So I got about 45 responses, and one of the women, Kitty Johnson, love Kitty, total obsessive, amazing artist herself. She said, I want to know how you go have those adventures and take those really cool photos. Because it's such an obsession for me and what I saw as a hobby in a way, it didn't occur to me to teach it to people. It's just what I do. And she said it, and I got so excited. That sparkle. I got, oh, that would be really fun. I want to see what other people do, because part of it for me is being inspired by the folks that I'm doing the class with, because the people who are drawn to the class, they tend to, most of them, become really obsessive themselves, and they're finding their own voice, like you, finding their own vision. And so when she suggested teaching it clicked. And so I started last summer. I've done 3 rounds. It's 6 weeks long, and it's online. There's a new portal now, actually, which I'm very happy about, where they actually will get emails, but it's on something called Rizuku. So there's a new way that it's set up. It's new, and I love it. So it's taken on a life of its own. The first class, I advertised it for 2 weeks. I think it was 11 people. The second class had 16 people. I've changed the format a little bit. But the private Facebook group that we have, which you're on, the people are posting every day, and it's amazing. There's a new woman who is in a yoga training, and she's taking these beautiful photos, and then she's collaging them together. She should be hired for people to do these things. They're so elegant and interesting and compelling. Graphically, she's very skilled.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely in love with it. And it weaves in, you talked about Periscope. It weaves in with the Periscopes that I do, because we go live. There's the live. We have the live video feed, and we go and have these iPhone adventures. So I'll go to interesting places or out my back door, and I'll find the hidden magic, because that's what it is to me, is that we're capturing it's like a form of divination. We're capturing with our phones really easily, because this app is really easy. See, that's
super.
It's easy. And because I'm so excitable, sometimes I'm impatient too. Like, I just want to get on with it. Like, let's do it. I don't want to sit here for 20 minutes and learn how to do this new thing. I just want to go. and have a cool thing happen. That's what's possible. Technology has caught up with the user. Things
Yes.
Periscope. Things are easy enough. We don't have to have a PhD in computer science now. You know, you and I doing this.
Yes.
We couldn't have done this 5 years ago.
No, and we don't need a PhD or a 5-year-old. You know, it's
Or a 5-year-old, exactly.
either end of the spectrum. And I'm a techie. I come from a tech background. I walked into a job for computer support, and I had been a dog groomer before that. And I walked in, and basically I told everybody that I was going to work for this company, and they were all like, go ahead, baby. We'll be calling the dog grooming shops. And I walked in and said, I'm going to do this job. I want to do this job. I'll be good at this job. And because I knew Windows 3.1, I'll be 55 in 2 weeks. They hired me and taught me the next version of Windows to do support on. So, and people were like, how did you do that? But the new technology, this app, y'all, the neatest thing about this app that and this is from a tech geek perspective, they changed it. They upgraded it.
Which app, Arwen?
The one we're not saying the name of.
Oh, yes. Oh.
They changed it.
iPhone photography app.
They upgraded. They made it new. And I'm going to say that across the board, we went, yeah, no, this did not work. And what they said was, okay, we're going to roll that puppy right back. We're going to keep some of the new stuff, but we're sending it back to the way y'all liked it. They listened.
They did listen. Thank God. I think they had a riot. But, you know, I do have to tell you, Arwen, that Linda Cooper-Taylor, the woman who is doing that amazing yoga combination, she's actually likes that newer version that they added, which I'm still resistant to, but because it doesn't have to be square, she's doing rectangles. And I have to admit, I get a little bored of the squares too. Yeah. So I'm doing a little dipping in, but it's the level of creative play and ease with it. There's nothing that compares to it. And Androids can come play too.
Yes.
But the app's not on Androids. There's another app that you can use.
Mm-hmm. And Karen was on an Android, I believe.
She was using Vignette. Oh. Vignette is the one for the Androids, but she was. But you know, part of what is there's this tribe building. I mean, you recently posted that beautiful antler in the leaves, but on the Facebook group, the people are there now. You guys are there from here on out. Anybody who comes into the course, and so we'll keep inspiring each other, because that's what's amazing to me, is that we're navigating the world in this fresh way. We're inspiring ourselves, and that inspires everybody around us, that enthusiasm, that passion.
And this inspired my writing. I look at stuff and I want to write stories about what the pictures are that people present. And I have to tell you, that antler, I got that antler while spreading my father-in-law's ashes at deer camp. And we were up where his stand was, and there were a dozen people, 13 if you count Eddie. He was in a box. And his sons are spreading his ashes, and the rest of us are just kind of walking around, talking, telling Eddie stories. He was a Arkansas fella, a deer hunter, bow hunter. I mean, he was just a guy, and a good guy, right? And I'm walking, and I looked down, and I looked back up, and I went, what? There was that naturally shed 2-point antler just lying there. Sorry, editor gods. And I picked it up, and I looked at the guy standing next to me, and I said, look what I found. He said, oh, well, look for the other one. There's always two. Well, we couldn't find the other. I said, does anybody want this? Because it's your deer camp. They let me take it. I go back to Eddie's home.
Treasure.
Right? And I'm loving this thing. I don't even take it out of my hand. My husband's like, going to eat lunch, you must put it down.
No.
I take a picture, and then I'm so obsessed with seeing what Hipstamatic. I'm so excited.
That's okay. They could, freedom of information.
I'm so excited to see what the app's done. I get in the car, and I start looking at the pictures.
Yeah. I
drive off, and I'm 40 minutes down the road, and I realize I have left the antler behind. freaks out. I called my brother-in-law. I'm like, you've got to go back and find this. And it's dark. So he goes back and I'm on the phone going, okay, remember where the truck was parked? Take 2 steps to the left, look to the right. And he's like, I can't find it. It was under leaves because the leaves had been blowing. He's mailing it back to me, but I was freaked out.
Oh, that's hilarious. You wouldn't let it go, and then it was being a trickster and hiding.
Talk about obsession, because I was so obsessed with seeing how the pictures had come out. I wanted to get the right one, because I'll take 6 or 7, and then one of them just says, I'm the one, and that's the one I do. Or sometimes I do there's a layout app, y'all, and you can, like, put your pictures together.
Awesome.
But I'm over-focusing on this. What is your next project? What's coming up next?
Well, and one more thought about that, because I love this story, and that story to me is the heart of what the iPhone adventures are, which is that there is magic that's waiting to be discovered all around us. To me, because we have a very mystical crowd here. I'm going to go full Monty with this. The spirits, the guides, our muses, they want us to step between the worlds. They want us, the deceased man, lovely man in the box, in some ways, I think he placed it there as a gift.
I know he did.
And so, but that's available everywhere. That's available out your back door. And then we want to take pictures of it and take really interesting, sometimes surreal, and sometimes just beautiful pictures. But so that's what's interesting to me, is this engagement of what's calling us, and that it's a form of divination. It's a form of messages and signs. It's another form similar to dreams, similar to all forms of divination, from song divination to license plate divination. There's something about the antler, about the passing and honoring of this elder. There's something about you forgetting it. This is all, you and I could sit here for 45 minutes and read what this story is. Yeah. And then you also have amazing pictures, and this inspires us, and it reminds us who we are.
Exactly. And the reason I left the antler, I'm fully blaming on my father-in-law, because he was a jokester.
Yes, right.
He and I were so politically opposite that he would just poke me. He'd say things like, we were in the car, and he'd go, you ready to listen to some Rush? No, unless it's the music group. And he would pick. He was a fun guy. But yeah, I mean, and the stories that y'all get in when you take these pictures, if you're a writer, you bring your words in. If you're a visual, and then the visual people get words, and the writers it's just this blend.
Well, it opens up the creative channels in general. That's what we want. We want to open up that passion and that creativity, and then it affects everything. I mean, that's my take, is I call it the deep power of play. To get out of the way, to waste time, to mess around, to not have this agenda. We adults tend to be so scheduled and have this to-do list, and we're human doing instead of human being. And me too. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody without pointing, 3 back at me. But to me, it gets me in that liminal space where I'm very present. And I sometimes, because I'm as obsessive as you are, that's why we're sisters of the heart, I'll take pictures for 6 hours straight, and I'll just be, there's this timeless place that I enter, and all of that human yearning and striving and ego stuff about I should have more followers here, or I'm not making enough money, or where's my boyfriend, or some of my stories. Where's all that? Gone, non-existent. Like literally, if I died at that moment, I would be complete. Just beam me back up, Scotty, because and I crave that, and that's not externally referenced. I don't need anybody else to validate me, the culture to validate me in any ways. That belongs to me, and that is my core power. And that is what I want to offer to the people in the class, is to tap into that core power that's uncorruptible, that is not driven by the shadow voices, that is this light and this brilliance that is yours. It is yours, and mine is mine, and we'll share ours. But that's why I do it, is that I feel I am one. I am one when I do it.
And, and I will tell you this as a student of your class, of your course, as a co-walker on that adventure.
Yeah.
When I first started, and I saw people like, well, Karen, and I know Karen, I was like, she's really better than me. Oh, look at that one. That one's better than me. Why can't I? And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Back up a step and get out of this ego trip you've just taken yourself on. Because it did become, I did want, well, look at mine. I was like that kid in the pool. Hey,
Exactly.
look at me, look at me.
Exactly.
And I stepped back and I started posting pictures. And I thought, I'm not going to judge. I'm going to love what other people do. I'm going to love what I do. And it really helped me with I'm a Pisces sun. So I have low self-esteem. I've got depression issues. When you were talking about that, I'm like, yeah, understand. But I've got Aquarius rising. And I think you've got Aquarius somewhere in your first three because you come off very air.
Very Vata in Ayurveda. Very Vata. Very fast.
Which is nice. But it really helped me understand that this adventure that I hope my viewers I hope y'all go take this with her because you'll be taking it with me because I'm on that group. But
yes,
it takes you out of this, I need, either I'm so bad you must validate how bad I am, or I'm so great you must validate how great I am. Validation just kind of goes out the window. There's an acceptance, there's a connection, and there's almost like, people are going to think this sounds weird, but it's almost like a blood sharing. You're getting in somebody else's skin and blood and heart when you look at their self.
Yeah.
And that's all it needs. You don't have to say, at this point, I didn't even need anybody to say that I like that. They just, does it, did it move you? Absolutely fabulous. And that's how my writing is. I don't care about my writing, so it was nice because
I know what it is. It's experimentation. It's experimentation. Like I was saying, that kid part of us, that explorer who doesn't have an agenda. I studied early childhood education, and so we talk a lot about the process versus the product. Adults are very product oriented, and I'm an adult, so I'm very product oriented, but I can also get into the process and let the process be messy and complicated and sometimes not what my product self thinks is the right, finished photo.
Yeah.
But sometimes those experimentations open new pathways and new visions and new potentials that take us to a place. The Dance with the Muse is very interesting. Very interesting.
I wrote a poem about the muse that started off with something about that bitch in the short red dress.
Outstanding!
So, because I wrote...
Thank for the bitch in the short red dress.
Because she had gone to Paris again.
Again, sister.
Now tell us what's coming up for you. I know you've got your March workshop. Do you have anything else planned? Any other goodies that you can tell us about?
It's interesting. I've been in, part of a process of being a person who follows the muses, follows signs and synchronicities, has a life that's not the traditional pathway of this is what you do and you do these things in this order, which is, after my husband died, my life really took a very different, I'm following a different value system. Mm-hmm. And so there are also times where you have take-aparts and you have initiations and you have times that some of the old structures that you use, particularly when you were younger to keep you safe, they're stifling who you can be now. And so there's been this process where I'm from Washington State and I've moved now I'm in Southern California. And so I've been in this real process of reinventing myself. It feels like I'm on the edge of something that's really different in some ways. And so that's been taking a lot of bandwidth, I'll be really honest with you, when there is this process where you are the Tower card. Last summer, I got the Tower card probably 15 times, 15 times, and I wasn't pulling a lot of cards. The Tower card was just boom, boom, boom. And so the iPhone Adventures, I've really been involved with that. And my vision for the coming year, I'm making relations down here in Southern California, and I'm in Palm Springs right now and up in Joshua Tree, Coachella Valley. And my vision for the next year is to do some more online classes because I like that ability to connect with people around the world. And then also to do some medicine walks and some photo vision processes down here in person because over time I've done a fair amount of in-person classes and teaching at conferences and things, as well as the online pieces. And so my vision as I navigate whatever this, opening up the void in me to plant new seeds, I'm looking forward to what that is. And the Oracle deck in April 6th, it will be 10 years since its inception.
Wow.
Since it began, it's a pretty cool story. Since I sat on my couch, I was in Seattle, sat on my couch, and I was feeling what some different career choices felt like. And I was thinking about working in, pursuing galleries and then putting my art on clothing and things. And then the deck snuck in because honestly, before I started the deck, I didn't have the confidence that I could do a project that big. The Oracle deck is what tempered me and brought me the level of confidence that I have now. That's what happens. You're never ready. You're never ready for the visionary project. Moses was never ready. Okay, we're never ready. But you gotta step through. So I'm sitting there on my couch, and I'm a very sensitive, very, very mystical, shamanic person. Everything is like an acid trip to me. And I'm sitting there, and I'm feeling the other ones, and they're okay. And then the deck, as I say, snuck on because I didn't think that I was skilled enough to do it. I'm just sitting there, I'm waiting. Top of my head, Arwen, blows open, and these fairy sparkles from the universe go boom, 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 and they go down every single chakra. And I love Carolyn Mace, and particularly early in my beginnings. She's more of a beginning person to me, but Carolyn Mace had this thing about when you're bringing visionary projects through, how it will affect each of the chakras. And some of the shadow things you'll deal with, it's called Advanced Energy Anatomy. It's a CD series. But that happened, is literally the project went down through all of my chakras, charged all of the chakras, and then went back up. And I sat there stunned, and I went, oh my God, I'm doing a deck. Now, it took me 6 years. It took me 6 years to do it and to finish finish the fabulous page book. We love the book. But that was the time that it showed me. And so really at this point, more online classes. If people want to come to California and study with me in person, I'm here. Oh, and I'm doing, also I've always wanted to do graffiti. And for some reason, you know how I sometimes you just don't do things, or I guess you wait until the time is right, or you save some good stuff for, later in your life. But I've started doing these huge wheat paste dream body collages, which if you guys go on Facebook or Instagram, go to Instagram under Mellissae Lucia, and you'll see the photos too. Instagram is where a lot of the photos are, but I'm in love with it. So my creativity, it's opening up, and I don't know what comes next, but I had a thought. What about if we pull a card?
Yes.
About tapping into our creativity? Who's the guardian? Who's the muse? Who's the messenger from the Oracle deck about tapping into it? Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about opening those channels so that we can receive and co-create these projects that are pursuing us, that are calling us. No, interesting. Okay, so this card is isolation. It's very intense, very, very, very intense.
Interesting.
This card, so for each of the cards, when the book came through, ancient cross-cultural guardians and archetypes came through to be the guardians for the cards. And that was really exciting. That was about 4.5, 5 years into the deck, and I got this whole new angle to the deck, and now it's one of my favorite parts. So, there's that piece too about when you work with the muse, you don't know what the time frame is.
Yes.
You do not know. And so isolation, so the guardian for this card is one of the African orishas called a Ganju. And a Ganju is the guardian of the volcanoes and the wild stark, barren, intense places, such as the tundra, the desert. And a Ganju is the one who will lead you through those most intense places. And the card isolation, to me, the way that I interpret it is the great wound that we all are carrying is, you were talking about being Aquarian, is that we're separate. We're separate from each other, and we're separate from the fact that we are God. And I believe we are God. We're all one. But the game down here was to find duality, find the separation, think we're separate, and play that game. And no disrespect to how painful this game is. As we both said, we've really struggled down here. But this is calling to me about how we are healing that separation from ourselves, from our divinity, from our brilliance, healing our separation from each other, which is really amazing. And so I think that's just absolutely delicious. 22, isolation, that we're coming out the other side of that. So what do you do? What do you do? What do I do in my life to integrate and find that knowing that we're all connected? And how does creativity and the signs from our muses and our guardians, how are they reminding us of who we really are? I'm getting the buzzing in the ear. They're like, oh yeah.
I'm getting the lift off.
You're getting the lift off.
So,
you're getting the lift off.
And it's a beautiful, and part of the lift off for me is I just was interviewed by somebody on YouTube a couple days ago, wonderful young man, and we talked a little bit about runes, and I talked about the rune Isa.
Yes.
So this is like my second Isa connection.
Totally beautiful connection there.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, gotcha. I know what it's saying to me, because I'm isolated right now, and I've got to stop. I've got to start making.
And isn't it about frozen? Isn't it ice? It's about frozen and constriction.
Standstill.
It's standstill.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I share something else that has been really helpful for me with all of this? I've been, because I am a student of transformation. That is my life. That is what for the past 25 years, that's been my job. That's what I've done. And the teacher will need to really learn it. Well, Paula, I've done that. And so one of my favorite teachers right now is a person called Matt Kahn. It's Kahn. He's up in Seattle, where I'm from. He's a channel, and he's talking about the ascension process, talking about navigating these times for we sensitive, love rebels who are changing the world. And so he, on January 18th, he posted, it was an energy update. So if you go to YouTube and you look, I don't know if he's done a more recent one, but if you look for the one that's from January 18th, 2016, it's energy update. And he's talking about 3 different types of energy. And I love how whoever channels through him brought this through. There is stagnation, circulation, and then integration. And stagnation, like you're talking about, the Isa, the isolation, and you're pissed off at the world and you're grumpy all the time. I know that one. And then, but when you move into circulation and you're doing things differently and you change things, if you've been doing yoga for 5 years, go swimming, go do something else. Sit on a different place on the couch, but do things differently. And when you start circulating that energy, that transforms everything. And then you don't have to go back in the old sludge. You just transmute into a new energy because you've been circulating the energy. And then when you're moving so much energy, sometimes you need to integrate. So, you want to go in the cocoon, you want to hermit, and we all have that. But I love that perspective of, gives me the really good, when I've been really grouchy or felt really thwarted or frustrated, massive stagnation, and I'm not changing things. So, moving to Southern California, that'll be circulating some energy. So it makes me think of that is also what can people, and go watch that Matt Kahn, go watch a bunch of the Matt Kahns. They're brilliant.
Absolutely. Now, I have taken up a lot of your time. So,
I love you. This is delightful.
It's been so much fun. I wish we had like another 15 hours.
Yeah, right?
I'm actually sad I missed the retreat you were at with Joanna, because I'm like, oh, that would have been very cool.
That was
But
cool.
I want to ask you the last question that I asked, and y'all, I've gone so off book on this. It's me. What's your best advice for someone who wants to just go out and be a creative, transformative life bringer? I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Two things. One, it's going to take some courage. Here's the thing. There's this Joseph Campbell quote that it takes a lot of courage to live your life because other people have a lot of plans for you. The reality is, in our attempt to be connected and to be loved and to be valued, we all have made a lot of contracts and subterranean contracts and codependent, energetic dances with people where it takes some work to clear out find your own voices and hear who you are and not be worried about what everybody else thinks about what you're going to be doing. Because here's the thing, if you want to be a visionary person and bring through whatever your magic is, in whatever form that is, you're going to have to be able to hear it, and then you're going to have to be able to have the courage to not let other people mess with it. You know, part of what I also do, and it's been rather organic, is that I also work with people bringing visions through. At this point, I'm calling it mystics who get shit done, because I have the ability to be a channel, and then I also have made products, which people don't always have the combination, but I know how to do both. And so there takes a lot of courage and self-sovereignty and knowing to be able to carry things that other people may dismiss or seems odd. So there's that piece. There's the courage piece. You're going to have to find the courage in you. We all have it. You're going to have to find it.
Yes.
The other piece is give yourself some unstructured time. Give yourself some time where you're not always studying or reading or connecting with somebody or watching TV or a movie. Go for those walks where you're just curious and you're just observant and you're open, or do something very tactile like play with clay or paint, or do something that gets the part of your brain that's trying to always organize and plan, gives that a rest so that you can hear. Like I said, my visions come through epiphanies. So like I'm driving the car, I'm in the shower, and they hit, and I go, oh, that was a really different thing that I just thought, because all of us have mind loops and we think the same 6 things. I'm hungry, where's my boyfriend, those sorts of things. And in order for the visionariness and the creativityness to come through, new thoughts need to be able to come through. So you need to cultivate this space. You need to cultivate times where you're walking along the seashore. I'm very pro being barefoot, of course not in the snow, but be barefoot. Be very present, but diffused awareness about what's going on, and see what new thoughts slip in.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so very much
for
joining
you, girl.
me. Oh, love you too, baby, because this was, y'all, you've just got to go explore her, and I'm going to put links for you so you can go find out more information about the course that I think everybody deserves. It's a gift to give yourself, and to learn more about. And I know that you also do readings. I should ask real quick, do you do those via Skype, or do you only do them in person?
No, I do. I tended to do them over the phone so that I can get a conference call recording. We can do them on Skype. And the Oracle of Initiation readings tend to be about why you incarnated, like your life path, what your great soul gifts are. And what I found in those readings over the years is that it articulates it in usually a little bit of a different way than how people have heard it. So it gives them a new doorway into things. However, the muses that come through me, they frame it in a way that has them opening doorways about, oh, that is it. And it's really, the deck is a GPS for navigating these turbulent, amazing times and for claiming your rainbows in the dark. And your rainbows in the dark are finding the brilliance that's hidden in your shadows, because that's one of our spiritual paradoxes, is that your greatest challenges, when you've transmuted and transformed them and integrated them and found the gifts in them, which we're all in process with, then that becomes what you offer to the collective. Because there's other people who are struggling with the same things we are.
Right. Beautiful. Thank you so very much.
Sweetheart. And kiss New Mexico for me.
I will. I'm in the dairy part, but I still love it over here. It's gorgeous. Oh, yeah. So everybody, seek joy, y'all. And is there something you say to people?
Oh, just go reclaim the deep power of play. Never underestimate the power of play.
Awesome. Seek joy and go play, y'all. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, Arwen. Thanks, honey.